If a man loves God, he will be able to love his neighbor, to attain wisdom, and to be just and truthful. Because God is our eternal blessedness, a child of God becomes a blessing for his fellows. Love for one's own ego, for something which is in reality nothing, leads to an abyss of nothingness. The love of a selfish man is nothing. Truth escapes between his hands. His wisdom will show itself to be foolishness, his justice injustice, and in the end, a series of disappointments and mistakes will lead him to hell, to the devil who is the spirit of disappointment and barrenness. Unless the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Catherine knew the truth of these words. Neri brought many of his friends to her, and many of them became her disciples. Among them was Francesco Malavolti, young, rich, sensual, avid for pleasure and distraction. His family had married him to a young and beautiful girl of noble birth, but he had been a sadly unfaithful husband who played the part of a Don Juan among the girls and young wives on his family estates. When he went with Neri to visit Catherine, he swore that if she mentioned conversion and confession to him, she would receive a reply which would keep her mouth shut. No sooner did he stand face to face with the young sister, looking into her, the first words which she uttered with power he had never met before, and in his impulsive way, he immediately put himself into her hands and asked to be allowed to be her son. He was sincere enough about his conversion, but it was not easy for Francesco Malavolti to break with his former bad habits. Not long after she had received him as her son, he came to see Catherine. She met him with a question. "My son, when did you last go to confession?" "Last Saturday," said Francesco confidently, and on the following day, Saturday, he would go again. But at this his mother turned her back on him, filled with righteous anger. "My son, do you really think that I do not know what you have done? Do you not know that I follow my children wherever they go? You cannot do or say a single thing without my knowing of it at the same moment." She told him where and when he had committed each sin. "Go immediately and free yourself from such great misery." It was not Francesco Malavolti's last fall from grace, especially at times when Catherine was not in Siena. The young man would allow himself to be tempted back to the old sinful ways. Catherine wrote to him and begged him tenderly to come back to the fold. "I, your poor mother, wander around distracted, looking for you. I wish I could lift you on the shoulders of my unhappiness and carry you home. You have become poor, you are in need, and your soul is about to starve to death. Comfort my spirit and cease to be so cruel towards yourself and your Savior. Dearest son, I must call you the child of my heart, for you have cost me many tears, bitterness, and trouble." Francesco came back, happy to sit once again at the feet of his mother. Again he went astray, until most of Catherine's friends gave him up. He would never be a dependable member of the flock. Catherine only smiled. She said she was sure that this wild bird of hers would not escape her in the end. But it was not until Catherine was dead, and Francesco Malavolti had also lost his wife and his child, and become a Benedictine monk, that he really understood how bravely his beloved mother had fought to save his soul. He wrote the story of his conversion, which was to be published when she was canonized, and now he understood completely how he really had been her dearest child, even though she had had as great love towards many others. But how such things can be is the secret of those who have consented to have their hearts recreated to resemble the heart of Jesus.